Hello everyone, in this tutorial we are going to talk about APIView. And previously in the previous tutorials we've been using Viewset from Views. It's a class-based view model. So in this tutorial we are going to talk about an APIView, which is another class-based view that we can use with Django Rest Framework. The thing is, in the APIView is a more basic type of view, which means we have to handle a lot of things ourselves. So if you remember when we started our first app about cars and we created the API serializer and URLs and views, and in our views we use the ModelViewSet from Viewsets, and in this model, only by doing few lines of code we've been able to make a GET request and get our data back. And in our URLs we use some kind of router in order to handle our endpoint, which made it easy for us to just add our endpoint names to the router and then include it here. In the API or API view, we kind of need to do more in order to get things work. Like, we can't just create our view set like here and add just a query set and expect the view to give us some data. No, we have to create, or we have to handle all the requests ourselves, like get, post, put and delete. Okay, and to do that I'm going to show in this tutorial how we can do a get and maybe post request. We'll see, and we'll see how we can handle it and how we add the URLs, okay, or the endpoints. Okay, so to do that I created a new app, which is, I named it Cars, just to make things neat because we previously worked on this first app. So in Cars we just created a new table or model with the same fields. I'm sure you're familiar with this, whoever was watching the previous tutorials. It's just about car brand, model, and production year, and car body, engine type. And then I created the API folder with the serializer, URLs, and views. Okay, so first let's start by adding the serializer, which is going to be the same as the one we used in the first app. I think I can just copy it and paste it. Okay, this first app, API serializer, because we have the same field, so just we have different different models, so I'm sure I can use it. So it's car serializer. Okay, I just need to change the name, and I need to import the model cars.models, import cars. Cars is the name of the models here. Okay, on the model, sorry. And here let's change it to car serializer, for example, and it's going to inherit from the serializer model serializer, and we change this to cars. And I didn't add a car plan just to make things simple. If you look here in the model, I don't have the car plan here, so I deleted it, and let's delete the depth. Okay, I'll put a link in the description for the previous tutorial about the how the model view set, okay, that we use to create our API. But for now, we need to work with the API view, okay? And next, what's next? Next, let's come to the view, okay? Inside of our view, first let's import the API view from Rest Framework .views, okay? So from Rest Framework .views, import API view, which we can use, and let's import the serializer. So from serializer, import, and we named it car serializer. And what else we need to import? Permissions and authentications. Okay, we'll see if we need them later, but for now this is what we need. And let's create our view class by typing class, and let's name it cars. Okay, API view, for example, and this will take an API view as an argument, and inside here we can put the serializer class, which is car serializer, and down here we can create our query set, for example, this method get query set, this will get us all the objects. Take self as an argument, and inside here let's create an instance of our object. So car equal, here we need to import our model. So from cars dot models, import cars. Okay, this is the model. So here we just need to get all the objects from the model. So we say, or we write cars dot objects objects dot all, and then we return car, or cars, let's name it. So we can use this function later instead of doing, cars or object at all each time we need to do a get, it just helps. And so if you remember, this was enough when we used the Viewset, okay, or the model Viewset. This was enough for us to get data from our model or from our table database. So we will see now, we will add the URLs and we will test, and we'll see if this won't get us anything. So if we go to urls.py, okay, this is just, I'll show you something. See here, for example, when we used the model view set or the view set itself. So here we just created a router and we added our endpoints here. We told them the endpoints, which view is responsible for each endpoint, and then according to that we just, then after that included our router here. So we can't do that with the API view. In the API view we need to hard code our URLs, okay? So we need to take a URL pattern. Okay, let me just copy this, and inside here we need to just hard code the URLs that we need to use. For example, let me name this cars, for example, and after that we need to tell this URL which view is responsible for handling the requests that come through this endpoint. So let me here import from .views, import what we name it, car API view. Okay, so I need to tell here that this is the view that's responsible for this endpoint, and I must add as view, otherwise I'm gonna get an error. Okay, so it's almost, we deal with it as a functional based views. Let's save this. Okay, and okay, let's go ahead and run the server. Okay, let me clear that, and okay, let's activate the virtual environment first. Scripts. However, using Mac, instead of, you can use the same command here, but instead of using scripts, you use bin like this. Okay, activate, and let's clear that, and then let's navigate to our project folder, which is my API, and then let's run the server. Let's wait for the server. Yeah, so we have the server running now. So, and the next step here, we need to include this URL files here, or file, inside our main project file, which is here. This is what I did here. So this will tell our project that we have an app with the URLs file. Include all the endpoints there in the main URLs file. So this is the directory, cars, API, URLs. Okay, so now if I need to access this, I need to type cars app / whatever URLs or endpoints we have here. Okay, so let's compare between the two. Okay, so here, if I go, this is from the car specs. Okay, so if you see, what I got here is all the data that I had in our car specs model, okay, that we added previously. But if we look to our views.py in first app, we see this, we have only get query set. So who handled the serialization, who handled the get request, who handled all that? The ModelViewSet, or the Viewsets itself, handled all the requests that we sent through our endpoint, okay, or through this endpoint. And if I type 1 here, for example, I get back this exact object with the ID 1. Okay, but if I go to, for example, the cars URL, okay, which is, as we saw, cars app / cars, okay, and I hit enter, I get nothing. It says method get not allowed. Okay, so that tells us that Viewset is a kind of higher level, which everything is, most of the things that are handled for us. If we need to have more control in the Viewset, we have to override the actions inside it, so we can have more control, as we did in previous tutorials. In the API view, we have to handle everything ourselves. Okay, so to handle a basic GET requests, here we need to add a method here, define a method which is GET, and this method will take arguments like self, request, args, and quarks. Okay, so in this method, this method will get triggered when we perform a GET request. Okay, so what we need here to do is we need, when the client or when we perform a GET request to the endpoint, we need to get all objects and send them back. Okay, so how we do that? Basically, we can use this query sets. So we can say cars equal self dot get query set set, yeah, and let me do this, get query set, and then after that we need to serialize this data. So we type serializer. For example, you can type anything, but I'm choosing serializer just, because we are serializing the data, and we need to use the cars serializer and pass the objects to it. And here in our case is cars, and then we have to add many equal true. Okay, after that we need to perform a response or return a response. And this will take the serializer dot data. Okay, I need to import the response. Just want to remember. Okay, so here I can import it here from Rest Framework dot response import response. Okay, so let's save that actually and wait for it to rerun. Let's go perform the same requests again. So I just want to refresh this, and as you see, we've got the data from our API. I added this previously to the API from the admin panel. Okay, so how I managed to do that, I just in the cars app, I added the cars model to the admin panel, and we did this previously. I just want to show you again. So if you go here to our admin panel, okay, admin. So I added, I went here to cars app, and then inside here I added the cars object. Okay, so as you see now, we managed to get this object from our API. Okay, so if I do here, you see here when we came, we did okay, here when we did the car specs /1 to get specific object with the ID 1, we managed to get it back. But if I come here and I do /1, okay, I don't get anything back. I didn't get anything back actually. It just got me back the same or the last object or the object itself, so it didn't see this. It didn't see it, which means we have to handle it ourselves. Okay, if we need to get specific ID or specific object with the specific ID. So let's try now and add and do a post request. So I can't do a post request from our browser. We need to use Postman. Okay, I'm going to open Postman. Let's wait for it to open. I'm going to try to do a post request and see what I get back from our API view. So this is the post request here. Postman. And see, I have here the same URL that we're using here. And if I do a get request, okay, I get this back. Okay, so let's try post request to cars. And if I do now post request, well, I have here in the body, I have already added some data here. And let's try to do a post request. And it says method post not allowed. So it's not handled until I handle it myself. So I need to come here to Viewset. In order to do post request, we need to add another method named post. Okay, and inside this method we'll add the same arguments that we previously added there. Okay, and then here we need to get the data from our requests. Okay, so we did this previously when we override the create function in our view set. Okay, so I'm just gonna go there and grab whatever we added there and add it here. So it's the same way, we're gonna do it the same way, just there's a small difference here that this needs to be post, it can't be create. Okay, so if we go to the first hab to the views.py, just instead of typing this again, I just want to copy it, just, to save time. So inside here, let me paste this here. Okay, comment out. So because here we don't have the car plan, so I'm going to delete it. So what's this basically here? When we do a post request, inside the request here, this argument, it contains the information about the request that we received, the data that's inside, type of request, all that. Okay, so this is the way how we get our data from the request, from the post request, so the fields that we sent. So inside here we're creating a new car object. Okay, so here we change this to cars because we're using the cars model. Okay, and object create, and then we pass here the fields. Okay, the car brand, the car model, and because our data that we receive from our request is dictionary, so we can access it by adding the car data with the key to get the value. Okay, and then we save, and then we serialize the data just to send it back to our client. Okay, so if we save this, I will leave the link in the description for the video where we override the create function of our view set and explained how we did it and how we performed the post request. So now if I go to the browser, okay, you will see the difference. If I come here to the browser and if I refresh this page, as you see now, it detects that now our post or create function is available. So that's why I added those fields here, so I can add new data, for example, to my database. Okay, so let's fill some data, for example, and post, and see we got our data back. Okay, and okay, so one thing I need to just mention here, that you see here, if I put one here after it, I get the same result, because in order to handle this one after the cars, we need to do it manually. Okay, otherwise anything that comes after this, whatever I put there after this, it won't be handled. Okay, and we will talk about this in future tutorials, but for now this is it, guys, and hopefully you understood the idea behind, or how to use API views. So that's it, guys, for this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment below. And if you like this content and you need more, just like and subscribe, and thank you so much for your time.